guess what? You're limited. Whole thing changes when you decide that you need to start delegating. Nobody can do the work the way I do. I agree. But I also agree that some people will do the work better than you. How can they do the work better than me? They can do some of the tasks better than you. You can do some of the tasks better than. That's why some of the things in your company need to be delegated. That's the only way you can start growing it.
Welcome to No Strings Attached, the place where we untangle honest conversations about business, reinvention, and the pursuit of the American dream. Hosted by Roger Magalhães, Brazilian-born, Boston-bred, Florida-based. He is an entrepreneur, speaker, and storyteller with 20 years of real stories, laughs, and screw-ups. This show is for anyone still searching for their place under the sun. So pull up a chair. The show is about to start. Here's Roger with No Strings Attached.
Hello, hello. Welcome to another show of No Strings Attached. My name is Roger Magalhães, and I am your host. If this is your first time here, welcome to the show. And if you have been here before, welcome back. Today, I am going to talk about why perfectionism is not a good thing when you're trying to grow a company. But before that, I want to remind you, why does this show exist? So basically in 2020, I created Trading Secrets podcast when I was talking about details and tricks and techniques in what to do when you are a window treatment installer. Then this year, I am celebrating 20 years with my uh, primary company, Shades in Place, where I do window shades. I'm a dealer. I also install for other people. So to celebrate the 20-year in business, I wrote a book called Nobody Told Me That, where I share 20 lessons from my entire life between living in Brazil for half of my life and living in the US for the other half. I share personal stories, I share pivot moments, I share victories, I share things that didn't work out. So, because all the great feedback I received, I decided to expand the podcast to be more than just window treatments. And I start including interviews with people in the industry, but also with other small business owners. Because the reality is, we all have struggles. We all need to figure out a way to grow our company, to devote time to our family, to find the next client, to figure out how to pay bills at the end of the month. So it's no window treatments that go through that. That is the same thing for whatever business you're in. For that reason, this podcast is about how can we grow our small business operation? How can we make enjoyable and not just a big burden? So today, I want to talk about these idea or this situation that I start noticing it. I personally did that for probably the first 18 years of my company until I was forced into change. But before I get to that point, I was watching my mom um, the other day. Now she's kind of sick. She cannot do much at the house. We had to hire a cleaner. And then we start seeing a lot of problems in her mind. So the thing is, my mom always kept the house perfect, super clean, everything spotless. The pans was just shiny. You could comb your hair over there because it was so shiny. everything is just perfect. When you have that kind of standard, it's good in a way, it's bad in a way. What do I mean? So we hired a lot of different cleaners because no one could do such a great job like my mom did. Because my mom always spotted something that the lady didn't do it. Because this lady doesn't do this way. Because she didn't clean this way. Because in this, because in that. So eventually, my mom started letting go because she realized it that nobody were going to do the same way that she did. Now, let's flip the coin let me show you a different example. For one reason or another, I am very fortunate to have great friends that cook extremely well. No matter what I want to eat, I just tell them I want Mexican food, I want Asian food, I want Brazilian food, and these people just know how to do it. They know the name of the ingredients, they know how to seasoning, they know the perfect point. Everything is just perfect. There's no better word to describe it. So once in a while, I try to treat them and say, hey, I'm a terrible cook, so I'm never going to cook for them. But I try to, spoil them, bringing them to a restaurant. Say, hey, food's on me today. Let's go out. Let's have fun. You guys always treating me well. It's my time. And more than I can count on it, they are never happy. They are happy in a way that, I decided to spend time with them and kind of bring them and kind of spoil them, but they always complain about the food because this thing don't match with that thing. That seasoning is too weak. That seasoning is too strong. It's well cooked. It's undercooked. No matter what, they always critique. But here's the problem. I don't critique. To me, the food is incredible, but my standard is different than theirs. Because they cook well, they are at a different level of expertise when it comes to food. Because I don't have the expertise for food, I'm happy with whatever you put on my plate. So, for that reason, we need to go to their homes and have fun. So, we kept limited. And this is how that really relate to your business. You do your business really well. You understand your craft better than anybody else. Unless you do the job, nothing gets done the way it's supposed to be. Kudos to you. I was just like you for the first 18 years of my life. But guess what? You're limited. You cannot take a vacation. You cannot get sick. You cannot take a day off because nobody else can do your work. I've been there. And then what happened? You become a slave of your company. The Hey there, Roger here. Just a quick note. This episode is brought to you by blindsonline.com. If you've been thinking about new window treatments, I want you to check them out. I am a partner there, and I can tell you firsthand, the quality, the selection, and the service are the real deal. Listen, over 5,000 five-star reviews don't lie. Whether you are a homeowner or a trade professional, blindsonline.com has you covered. Easy process and affordable prices. And because you are supporting the show here, I want to support you as well. Use coupon code podcast at the checkout and you get 10% off of your order. There's a link in the show notes. And by the way, if you're getting value from the show, do me a big favor and share these with someone who needs to hear. Word of mouth is everything to me, and you know it. And I really appreciate your support. Now, back to the show. Whole thing changes when you decide that you need to start delegating. You need to transfer all your knowledge into somebody else's work. Well, Roger, nobody can do the work the way I do. I agree. But I also agree that some people will do the work better than you. How can they do the work better than me? They can do some of the tasks better than you. You can do some of the tasks better than them. That's why some of the things in your company need to be delegated. That's the only way you can start growing it. Oh, but I have a client that is extremely Pete client, pain in the ass, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Complains about everything. I'm the only one that can do that job. Well, here's how it happened. When you have those clients, you deal with them because nobody else can, because you treat them the way they wanted to be treated. You charge for that. But 90% of your clients are not that Peter client. They don't have the expertise, the food expertise that my friends have for whatever service you provide. For those clients, you can train somebody else to do the work. Well, this guy not gonna be 100% you, but he can be 80, 90% of you, which will be absolutely enough great to do the work that needs to be done. And you know what happened? Your client's going to be happy. Your client's going to pay the bill. And now it's not just you bringing income to your company. There's a secondary stream of income start coming in because somebody else is also doing the work. When I first started transitioning from Roger alone to, let's go, a bigger Roger, everything was in my head. It was painful to explain to other people what needs to be done because I could do with my eyes closed. It would take me 30 seconds to get things done. Now I need to explain everything and I need to tell people to do. And then I need to tell them again because they didn't understand the first time. It takes time, but it's the only way you can grow your company. Guess what? I did everything alone for the first 18 years. I did great. But every time I went on vacation, I had to work twice as hard when I came back because I had to catch up. Once I created my system, now I have 7 installers that do work for me. They don't do perfect every time. Sometimes we need to go back. My clients understand that. When I have a job that truly requires Roger, I either going to do it or I am going to decline it. That's the nature. That's what I accepted for my company. That was the direction I decided to go because I didn't want to work physically until I was 80 or 90. I wanted to enjoy all my work. And to do that, I had to free time myself so I could enjoy it. For that reason, I created systems. It takes time. It's painful. It's not easy. I can tell you that because everything is so much easier because everything was in my head. But guess what? If I get sick, nobody does the work, and that's not healthy. Now I have someone in the office. She does things way better than me because that's what she does. Liz Meyer is incredible. Everything's organized. Now my emails don't take 3 days to be replied because she's on top of it. Before, it was Roger, 6 o'clock, going out of the door to get things done, and then 57 emails and another 100 voicemails when I get home to go through it. And then I didn't have time to reply to everything because I was already tired. And then takes 2 or 3 days before Mrs. Jones get an answer. Now the company flows better. Now people call and they said, can you have one of your guys here? That already tells me they don't expect Roger to be on every job because they sees a bigger company. Because they read reviews, they say, oh, your company does well. Can you please send someone here? So Roger got out of the picture. Roger is still behind the scene. And that's where the quality control still stands. Because I try to push everyone that works for me to do better. For that reason, I have time to think. I have time to make the company grow. The same thing you should think about for your own company. You don't need to have an Amazon size company. You don't need to have an Apple size company. Just being open enough to bring someone to the office, to answer phone, to book appointments, to send invoices, already set you free for maybe 2 or 3 hours a day. So you can work a little less. You have time to train someone to start doing some of your work. They don't need to do everything. They can unload the truck. They can do whatever work you don't like to do. But you need to be open minded. You need to be willing to let go perfectionism. Some of the things has to be done your way, no matter what. And I agree. And that's why they call you, because they want you for those expertises. But for the things that nobody really know exactly how it works, you can send one of your people there. And before you know it, you are less stressed. You work a little less. You see a little bit more. You're not going to see double the income overnight because it takes time. But you got to start it somewhere. I hope you like it. If you have any questions, any feedback, any suggestions, I'm all ears. I read everything. I appreciate you for being here. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
And that's a wrap for today. Hope you're leaving with something that sticks. If this episode resonated, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. For more information, follow Roger at rogermagalhães.com and find the link in the show notes for a free chapter of his book, Nobody Told Me That. We'll see you next Sunday with no strings attached.